Hey there. We are back in the Third Ward, but this time we're meeting at the historical Buffalo Soldier Museum. And while it's clearly not a church, a mosque, a lounge, or even a record label, the museum does present and celebrate a commitment to the well-being of a growing nation, a commitment expressed sometimes even to the point of death. In this way, it speaks to a particular sense of purpose and life meaning tied into the meaning of this nation. And as is often the case, leaving behind the politics, the effort to find life meaningful is captured through cultural expression, like song perhaps. And in this space, just like Sugar Hill from the first session, it gives us a way of pushing the point, the making of meaning, the shaping of life's importance, and it's found in and represented by sites and activities beyond the obvious. Let's try to keep all these different things in mind as we push forward into our discussion today about hip-hop culture's effort to make life meaningful, to help humans make their life meaningful. The overlap between about what religion seeks to accomplish and what hip-hop seeks to accomplish will slowly begin to emerge as we go through this session. Now, there's more to hip-hop culture than typical depictions would suggest. It's a very deep and rich form of cultural expression that does some pretty heavy work. Today we're talking about how hip-hop culture seeks to help humans make their life meaningful. Now, in my group work as well as my solo efforts, we've worked very hard to try to do this within the confines of UGK as well as BUN as a solo artist. And one of the songs that we took great pains to go through this about was the song High Life. Now, within the song High Life, we talked about how a lot of young men that are leaving very sketchy and sometimes dangerous lives in the street try to figure out how God looks at them and even if God will accept them for what they've done. Now, Pimp C and I had kind of dealt with this conundrum ourselves, and we came to the conclusion that if we were dealing with this, probably a lot of the people that listen to our music, come to our shows, and even deal with us on a daily basis were probably dealing with those same questions. What is this life all about? What are we doing here? What is our purpose? Trying to make more of an understanding about their daily struggles and the issues that they deal with. So we thought that we would try to put these ideas into song form and express our view of the world and sometimes the way we felt the world viewed us. By communicating these things through song, we were able to make a closer and more personable connection with not only the listener, but the man on the street. As a solo artist, when Pimp C got locked up, there were a lot of personal issues that I had to deal with. So I looked to song to try to find ways to help the listener understand and even connect with me because of the fact that I was missing Pimp C. I kind of felt like a lot of the people out there were missing Pimp C too. So I used the tagline Free Pimp C as a way for everyone who felt the way that I felt about the situation to be able to connect on a personal basis. It didn't even have to be within the course of a song. When people would see me on the street, a lot of them would walk up to me and simply say Free Pimp C. I would say Free Pimp C back to them, and we would have made a connection simply on that basis. Now, the thought and practices of hip-hop can often give expression to this effort to find meaning in life. Throughout the course of my career, I've worked with different artists, and sometimes when we work, we try to decide, should we do lighthearted music or music with meaning? And often the best music is the one where you can kind of combine a bit of both, so that people get a sense of who you are, but also what you are. Now, I've recorded with a lot of artists in this sense, and sometimes the message is a little bit more hidden than often seen. When recording with a young artist, Big Crit, we did a song called Country Shit. And the point of doing the song Country Shit was really for him to try to carve his identity as a Southern artist out and define himself as a Southerner while still trying to make sure that his music and his identity left him open to be embraced by people from all places around the country. So while it may seem like we're talking about collard greens and sweet potatoes and riding around in Cadillacs, what we're really talking about is our pride to be a Southerner, our affection for our Southern lifestyle, and the fact that with all Southern hospitality, we're opening our arms up to the world. But sometimes songs take on a different matter and meaning. Often in the inner cities of America, young people of color are starting to feel more and more paranoid about their surroundings and the people in their surroundings. Now, initially, it was about the idea of the police following and keeping their eye on you. Then there was the concept of the government, AKA Big Brother, keeping his eye on you as well. So for a lot of young men in the inner city, there's a theory that you should keep to yourself and your surroundings and don't talk to strangers. And we did a song called Strangers to talk about this type of thing. The way that some people feel they have to move and maneuver within their surroundings just to stay alive. The fact that they have to mute themselves to people and not even communicate with people in their surroundings speaks to the conditions of the surroundings themselves. A lot of people walk around the inner cities of America with this mentality of not talking to strangers, keeping to yourself, and that's the way you stay alive, by being quiet. And we talked about that on the song Strangers. Now, one more example of trying to find life's meaning through music and song would be the song How Long Will It Last by UGK featuring Charlie Wilson of the Gap Band. We wanted to delve deep into the mind of the individual that actually lives his life day to day trying to find something better. Sometimes he's not doing the right thing in order to find the right way. And this is the conundrum that young people find themselves in every day. And we sought to communicate that through music. Bringing in an individual like Charlie Wilson from the esteemed R&B group, the Gap Band, helped to bring more depth and meaning into the song, as many people know that Charlie Wilson has also had his share of struggles as well. Combining his struggle and insight with ours through this song helped us to bring a lot of people a little bit more in touch with the reality of everyday action, sometimes having consequences that many of us aren't prepared for. Like them, we have done things that maybe we weren't proud of, and we were wondering how a higher power may be looking down upon us. And you never know exactly where you might get caught in the midst of doing these things. So it's important that in the midst of even being in the most seediest, dangerous places, and even in the midst of criminal element, people are still out there wanting glory from God. Dance often expresses the importance and value of the human body. Black, brown, yellow, and white bodies using their physical form to distort themselves to music, or sometimes to just hand claps, in a way that gives them empowerment as opposed to despisement. For many years, people of color have been left to feel inferior, especially in the physical form. Dance, for many years, has been a way for people to reclaim their bodies and reclaim their physical form. And it's the art that provides images that speak to a human desire for connection as well as beauty. Now, rap speaks words of challenge and comfort and is meant to help people find this value in life. One example that people might not even recognize would be the song and the dance, Do the Dougie. Now, for a lot of people, it may just seem like a silly dance that people do in the club. But to me, this represents exactly what we're talking about here. Now, when we talk about doing the dance, the Dougie in question happens to be hip-hop legend Dougie Fresh. Now, Dougie Fresh is often described as hip-hop's greatest entertainer. The reason he's described as such is because Dougie Fresh has always been one of the best dancers in hip-hop culture. But it also gets deeper than that. With his name, Dougie Fresh, he always wanted to let people know that Dougie is always fresh. There's always pride in his physical form, so that even though Dougie can dance well, he also takes pride in the body as well. So when you do the dance, the Dougie, you're not only saying that you can dance, you're also implying that you have pride in yourself as well, because Dougie, though he could dance, was also fresh. So what have we talked about today? Well, we've talked about how hip-hop culture and religion connect in very important ways. We've talked about how they do similar work by helping humans wrestle with important life questions. We've talked about how there's overlap or commonalities between the two, hip-hop culture and religion. Now, you may want a bit more information on hip-hop's making of life's meaning, and if so, that's cool. That's what the bonus reel is for. Take the time, check out the reel, do the readings, which is important, and listen to what the teaching assistants have to say as well. These guys have some great insight. Now, once you're done reading and checking out the bonus reel, Professor Penn is going to tell you more about how traditional forms of religion work to foster life's meanings.